of the pendulum, a journey to go, guiding souls to realms where dreams convene.
Hello there, it's Kelly here from Divine Alchemy Healing, and today I'm delighted to invite back the wonderful Heather Wilks, who's here to tell us even more about her dowsing books, which is Dowsing Heals 1 and Dowsing Heals 2. Welcome, Heather, and thank you for coming on. How are you?
Thank you, Kelly. I'm fine, thank you. My voice is a bit croaky, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we're going to get through this one way or the other, aren't we?
We are, yes.
So we know, I've been looking through your second book recently, and I always refer to your first book. I find it absolutely fascinating. And we'll just say straight off that for anyone out of Australia, they can get it on your website, can't they?
That's right, yes.
And it's
an instant download.
Yeah, instant downloads, no waiting around for a delivery. If you're in Australia and you want a hard copy, you can get. Is it on Amazon in Australia or?
Oh, it's direct from me.
Yeah. I like it that way personally. That's how we do our books as well. Yeah, it's a personal energy interaction, isn't there? Because you're in contact with your customers.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So how is the sale of the books going?
It's going really well, thank you. Yeah.
Good.
It's amazing that I was thinking mainly be book 2, but a lot of people are buying 1 and 2 together.
Yeah.
In the downloads because they hadn't heard of me before, and suddenly now they have. So
wow,
it all works. Yeah.
Yeah. And Dowsing 1 is like a manual, isn't it? It's sort of telling people from the start.
Yes.
And then tell us about that, and then what happens with Dowsing 2 as well, so that people...
Okay, the first book started as a manual when I was taking classes live, pre-COVID, and there was such a lot of information in it, and I thought, well, really, I should turn it into a book, so I did. And that was really a good thing to do. And then late last year, I thought, it's time for a second book. And the second book is all... Excuse me, Kelly.
That's all right.
Pardon me. Is all about advanced dowsing protocols. And I thought today we might start with brain rewiring.
I love the sound of this.
There's a lot of talk about brain rewiring, and I thought, well, we'll just put it to dowsing and we'll keep it simple.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
People who are watching like to pick up a pendulum and douse along with us.
And have a few sips of water if you haven't. I mean, I haven't had much water this morning because it's about 7 a.m. So I'm still...
Yes, well, my throat's just decided to...
Bless it. We'll send your throat some healing as well while anyone who's watching, send Heather's throat some healing. All right, so we're going to do some brain wiring. I'm just trusting you here. I'm like, I wonder what rewiring we're going to do.
All right, well, that's good that you're trusting me, Kelly. So everyone, you should just start your pendulum in your no direction to take out what we want to remove. Okay. Scramble the frequency of the negative effects of chronic stress on your mind, body, and spirit, releasing incoherent emotional and energetic patterns related to stress. Scrambling the frequency of your fears about participating in life, great need for control and need to know things, all the need for attention and approval, all the things that can dog us at times. Fears about feeling unworthy or even undeserving, any deep-seated grief or guilt, the belief that life has to be a struggle to survive, feelings of weakness, limitation, and belief there isn't enough, any stuckness in your world related to lack, everything contributing to the problems you're facing, perhaps with your health. Now just allow your pendulum to come to a stop of its own accord as the dowsing magically removes all of that. Okay. Now start your pendulum in your yes direction and let it take over completely.
Yeah, my one sort of goes back and forth when it's stopping as well. That's
Right,
my
yeah. Well,
sign.
people
So
do
that's
thinking, so that's why I always say your no direction, your
yeah.
because there's so many variations.
Yeah.
So in the yes direction, transforming the energy to the most beneficial for your recovery and restoration to optimal health, emotional and physical strength, and peace of mind. Rewiring your neural pathways to reduce overactivity in the amygdala, bringing your overactive limbic system into balance to eliminate chronic stress. Activating the vagus nerve to increase vagal tone for renewed coherence throughout your mind, body, and energy field, to promote relaxation and improved overall well-being. Excuse me. Healing the non-beneficial emotions underpinning your health issues, magically healing and regenerating your body and immune system to maximum health, vibrancy, and well-being. Bringing in anything else, known or unknown, to develop maximum health, strength, vitality, clarity, confidence, and increased courageousness. This or something better is safe and appropriate across all time and dimensions, magnifying this with the help of nature spirits, spiritual dowsers, and the best dowsing knowledge of all time. Thank you.
Wow. Right, we'll end the interview now because we've done everything we need to do. We'll go off and live our lives.
Yes. Oh dear.
Oh, that was absolutely beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. It's really
It's my
lovely.
pleasure. I'll just show you the front of the books.
Yes, do. Yeah. So that's Dowsing Heals. Oh, bring it in front of your body just a bit more because then, oh, no, that's taken it. That was wrong. Oh, there we go. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the other one, complimented, is just a bit big.
Now, I love an A4 book because
Yeah, it's very
you've done the same as us. You've had them ring bound, which is
it's so much easier to have them flat because you can douse along or do whatever you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Perfect.
and I actually, you know, I've got the printout versions, but even the way they printed out, as a partially sighted person, I found them so easy to go through because you've left that lovely amount of spacing in between the lines, you know, and so nothing gets jumbled in together. They're very easy to work with. And yeah, highly recommend these books. If you haven't got that, we love these books. And there's something for everybody in there, isn't there?
There really is,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, some of the things I know, I'm always skimming through, like sometimes at the beginning of a session before my clients arrived, I'll have a quick nose through and see if anything calls to me that as I'm tuning into the client, and you know, probably 9 times out of 10 it's perfectly accurate for what they're coming in with, even though I've had no idea why they're arriving. So there's a sort of weird, there's dowsing and dowsing within the books.
I think it's great. Yeah. It's perfect.
Yeah.
I thought I'd just touch on something today. I posted on Facebook about humming. Now, it was quite an innocent little post. I wasn't thinking it was going to get a lot of attention, but amazingly it did. And you and I have spoken about it too. The great thing is you can't have a thought while you're humming. Now, when you think about how we've got all that mind chatter, because when you hum, you're creating a space between your thoughts and your nervous system. It can help regulate you to feel less anxious and overwhelmed. And that brought some interesting people responding. One dowser said that when she feels her dowsing's not quite right, she's not quite getting what she thinks should be right, she either hums or sings and then douses again, and everything's righted, which I love that.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful way of using it, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, the
Yeah.
thing about dowsing, I'm always learning something, even after all these years. That was brand new to me, to think that
Yeah,
you could hum or sing to be sure that your answers are spot on again. Yeah.
yeah,
And she's a really proficient dowser, so it's a bit like all of us, we have days we think, is that quite right? Yeah. So
yeah.
that was a good one.
Yeah, and that's definitely worth making a note of anyone who's watching because that's one of those little things that's very easy to do if
Mm.
you are feeling a little bit uncertain, you know, or even if your own emotional state isn't quite where
Yes,
it should be, having a little hum or a sing is going to help put you back into alignment. As you said, you know, it helps the nervous system as well.
mm.
It reminded me actually, many years ago, I used to ride an ex-racehorse who was, let's say, highly strung. And if you weren't feeling very calm and grounded, this horse was like a rocket. And so often, if I felt I wasn't, when I'd get on and our first sort of 10 minutes, I'd be either humming or singing little songs, and it was mainly for me to take my mind off the fact that I might be exiting side right any time now.
Yes.
But it worked because,
Yes,
you know,
yes,
it was calming the heartbeat down as well.
it's
And then,
wonderful.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's
And
amazing.
Dr. Roger Callahan, the creator of thought field therapy,
Yeah, yeah,
he must have been way, well, he was ahead of his time,
mm,
but he included in one of his procedures,
mm,
he asked people to hum just a
yeah,
couple of bars of happy birthday or
mm,
whatever.
that's
And it was
right. Yeah,
incredible because it really, it obviously had all these benefits. Now, whether he actually knew that or whether he was receiving this as a download
mm,
himself, but when you think about, and then along came Gary Craig and he
yeah,
adopted it for EFT. So,
yeah,
really quite amazing. And I'll just read you, someone else posted
sure.
saying that humming is supposed to increase and release nitric acid in the nasal passages. It's also meant to activate the vagus nerve and the positive action of the parasympathetic nervous system. I mean, a
Wow.
simple thing like humming. And
Yeah,
I just, we were speaking about that before. I just think keeping it simple is absolutely the best way to go. If something works, just
yeah.
do it. It's great.
Yeah, and it's so because like often we, you know, we might be picking up our pendulums and we haven't got an awful lot of time. And, you know, I love a long protocol, don't get me wrong. I'm really into doing long ones when I've got time. And that's
Yes,
often when I'm with my clients, you know, because we've got an hour and a half that we're dedicating to doing that. But like when I'm day to day, actually doing little simple, profound techniques like that is sort of life changing in its own way, isn't it?
it is.
Um,
Yes. Yeah, and you can just always, just pick up your pendulum and scramble the frequency of whatever is going on and then dust in the positive direction. And as Raymond Grace is so often inclined to say, um, transforming it to pure love. And he said
mm,
sometimes it makes him sound like a flower child, but he said it works. I love his sense of
yeah,
humor.
and he doesn't look like a flower child.
Not look like a flower child, no, bless him. Yeah, so
Oh, yeah, no, that's amazing, isn't it? And
he
I,
contributed to my first the beginning of my first book, and also Faster EFT. Robert
mm,
Smith contributed because without the Faster EFT, I would never have taught dowsing. I'd go into a room and there was always one person at least who couldn't get a pendulum to even move.
yeah,
And as soon as
yeah,
I realised that I could get them to tap
yeah,
and address whatever was going on. And invariably, others had the same problem. I'd get a whiteboard and write it up. And it was always, I'm not good enough. Everyone else is going to be able to do this more than I will.
yeah,
And what if I get it wrong? And we tapped first on that
yeah.
and then start the dowsing. And the dowsing was a breeze. So the two hand in hand for me were what led to me writing the books.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because right across the world, there's you there and me over here. And that's exactly what I did when I first started teaching beginners courses in pendulum workers, I use tapping to increase their confidence to be able to do it.
Yes.
Because like you say, not everyone feels confident when they pick
No.
up a pendulum that it's going to move for them. And that in itself is inhibiting, isn't it?
Yeah. And all
Um,
their lives, they've generally had the idea I'm not good enough for whatever
yeah,
reason. And
yeah,
then, they're much years and years older, and they've still got that lurking in the background. So, yeah, once I put the two together, it was a breeze.
yeah.
But one of the very first times I tried teaching someone, this woman said, "Oh, I'm going to douse now to see if I can stop my medication." I said, "Stop right there.
Yeah.
Not one, no, no, I'm not having that on my head. You are
No.
not doing it." She'd only had it in her hand for a second.
Oh
She
my,
was going to douse to see
yeah,
if she could give up her medication. I don't think so.
yeah.
Kelly, I just thought I'd also mention another
Mm,
thing I always recommend to people is
yeah.
to get a
Oh yeah,
child.
the notebook. I've got mine here with doggies on it.
All right. Yeah. Well, I just think, well, neither of these books would have been written without
Yeah,
notebooks. I
yeah,
start off for myself and for clients, for situations, whatever. I write the date, what the situation is, what I'm, what I plan ahead,
yeah,
and also what comes in intuitively.
yeah,
Then you can go back and look at it and think, that worked really well,
yeah,
or that could have worked a bit better. I might have done this next time. And so it's just a great way to remind yourself how good at dowsing you really are, because we all think we're going to remember and we
yeah.
don't.
No, we don't.
So that's why I harp on and on about these
Yeah,
little books you can get at the
no.
school.
Do you know that is a really good tip? And you did mention it in the first time we spoke to
I
you, and
did.
I took that, and I've now got A5 pads all over my house. They're
Oh,
in different
great.
rooms because sometimes I just have a thought,
Yes.
and I'm in the bedroom and I have a pad there ready to scribble it down. I've got about three in the living room, and God knows how many in here. So thank you
Oh, I'm
for
so
that.
pleased, Kelly. That's
Yeah,
great because, it's these little things that make such a difference. And
yeah,
people do that. They'll get more confidence
yeah,
more quickly. And the other thing I like to do, if I have something that I think, oh, I'm not sure that I know quite what to do with that, you flick back through your book and you think, oh, that's great. Or the other thing I do is think, what would Raymond Grace do?
yeah.
Because he's always got this huge idea for something. And immediately I'm in dowsing mode and the little fear's gone. It's great.
Yeah, that's a lovely way of tuning into Raymond Grace's energy as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And we know in EFT, I'm sure you have probably told people about this, you can borrow people's energy, like in
Yes.
tapping, we sort of, if there's someone that you really find very admirable or inspiring, you can
Mm.
tap their name, and you can obviously do the same pendulum work
Yes.
wise as well, can't you?
And
But
it's
and
borrowing benefits. It's really,
yeah,
really good. Yeah. It's
yeah,
great.
yeah,
And I know I mentioned this in the other video, but I really would like to mention it
yeah,
again.
cool.
I use Inner Segal's
Oh,
book, The Secret Language of the Body. And I know you
I've
got it,
got
love.
it. Yeah, look.
Mine's actually very tatty. I keep a nice one to hold up that's clean.
Mine's
But
got bits coming out of it where I've marked certain pages as well.
well, look at
Yeah,
mine. It's
yeah,
naturally
yours
neat.
is I like the
And I
fact
had
yours
it,
is ring
I
bound as well.
I had it spiral bound at a printer so I could
Ah,
look at that. Yeah.
wow.
It's just, I
Yeah.
use it for
Oh,
tapping,
it's
for dancing.
perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
it's,
perfect for pendulum
mm,
protocols as well.
it is, yeah. And the first time I used it, I'd been asked to go to a hospital to
Mm,
help a woman whose mother was very ill. And I was going there to tap, but she was in such a bad way. I did some Reiki on her and to calm her down. Well, then she went to sleep, which she desperately needed. And I thought, what do I do now? Well, of course, I had Inner with me and I
right.
had the pendulum.
Yeah.
And I thought, I've never thought to do that before. So I knew what was her
Yeah.
troubling her. So I doused in the no direction to take out all the negative emotions that Inner mentions,
Yeah.
and then doused in the yes directions to bring in the favorable ones.
Yeah.
And And then she woke up and said, I missed it, which was so cute. But it was, she
Oh,
desperately needed that
yeah.
sleep. And I was there for a couple of hours. I'd been engaged
Wow.
for that. But I hadn't thought to dowse before. So that was a great message from the universe to me.
Wow. Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's a really lovely book in terms of it's got I personally I've always worked with Archangel Metatron, and she uses the words divine healing intelligence.
yes,
But you know some of the statements in there are perfect for dowsing as well. And also you've got all the physical conditions that happen to us and things that where you can look up and see what the emotional sort of
yes,
correlation is, can't you?
yes,
So,
yes,
but we should be promoting your books.
okay.
Um, Ina Signal should be paying you now because this is the second video you've talked about her
Oh,
book
she's
on.
very famous in the
Yeah,
cigar.
yeah,
Yeah, very
yeah,
famous.
yeah. I've got some of her cards actually as well. After I bought the book, I bought
All
her
right.
what are they called? Oh, where are they? I've lost them temporarily, but I've got a pack of her cards, which is
Yes, I have to.
yeah, quite different to her book in energy, isn't it?
It is. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So in your second book, I noticed also that you had checking the soul and how much of the soul is in the body, which is always an intriguing thing for me. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, one of the things I learned from Raymond actually was to
Mm,
check on how much of the soul was present at birth,
right. Yes.
and then to check how much is present in the body now.
Yeah.
And because, with all of the life that we go through and what we, experience,
Mm,
it can become fragmented. So it's a really good thing to double check with a chart or just
yeah.
numbers 0 to 10, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just know, and then bring it back in because we definitely need the soul in the body. It's the
Yeah.
same with the nature spirits. Did you start talking to them after our last conversation?
I've done a little bit. I haven't done tons, but when I go out, well, one of the reasons is because when my dog was younger, we used to go out for hours. You know, we'd be right in the depth of the woods and everywhere. Now, sometimes we get up the road. We don't often get to too many places where I feel like, oh, I really want to sit down and connect here. But we do occasionally. And in those times, I've been just opening up my sort of energy field a little bit and opening that communication.
Mm.
And for some reason, even before the butterflies had come out in the UK, I kept seeing butterflies. And I really felt
Okay.
like that was a lovely sign
Yes,
um,
really lovely.
that
Yeah.
there was a response coming back with that. In fact, a couple came in the house as well.
Mm.
And it was still sort of early March when I was doing it more. And I thought, I don't think there should be butterflies quite out yet.
Oh, that's
Where are
great.
they
That's
coming
really
from?
good. Yeah. No, that's wonderful. No,
Yeah,
well, I still talk to them every day. And as I
yeah,
said before, Raymond Grace introduced me to doing that
yeah.
to help with the weather, particularly. But I just think it's great. You feel like you've got extra help.
Mm,
And I think also they appreciate being appreciated.
yeah,
They like to know that, these humans wandering around
yeah,
oblivious are actually aware that they exist.
yeah,
So it really is good.
yeah. And of course, in a bigger picture sort of way, that also assists sort of the earth as it's going through its ascension and all the beings upon it,
Yes,
doesn't it? By having more awareness and more sort of communication with all these aspects that yes, we can't see them in the physical, but
mm,
we're aware of them. We're
yes.
aware of the energy of animal spirits, nature spirits, so much out there, isn't there? Like you, I mean, I still chuckle to myself. Anytime it tips it down with rain, I sort of naturally think of you checking to see if you need to take an umbrella out with you or not. Um, I'm yet to do any sort of seeing with the weather, if I can I'm trying to think of a word, not manipulate it, but work with it.
Ask
Uh,
for help. Yeah. Just
Yes,
ask for
yeah,
help. Yeah.
yeah. Because though we've had a few days of rain, we haven't actually had any real terrible weather recently. So I feel like, well, the weather's sort of doing its thing, and it's fine. But
Yes.
yeah, it is in my mind that if we do get anything out of the blue, I'm gonna
Yes,
get,
definitely.
yeah, get the
We have,
pendulum
we've
out.
had some beautiful autumn weather because we're on the
Have
other
you?
side of the world, of course, in
Yeah.
Australia. But last Thursday we had a real flash of winter, and it was
Wow.
astonishing because quite nearby there was snow. Now that's unheard of
Right.
in May.
Yeah.
Later on in the year, yes, but it was so bizarre. And I just went out to the nature spirits and said, "Have you got the days mixed up?" Because I
Yeah.
talk to them like they're friends, and I don't know whether they appreciate that, but I'd always imagine them laughing at this.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
No,
was
that's
it was
lovely.
only one day, but I thought
Yeah.
snow, cracky,
Yeah.
that was too much. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it when you have a relationship like that. I'm a bit like that with my guides, and even, when I'm working with archangels and galactic beings, I've always had this slightly humorous back and forth with them. Like they might say something like, have patience, it's coming. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't understand time up there. And
I think a sense of humor is helpful everywhere. I really
yeah,
do, Kelly. You
yeah.
know,
It
it's
definitely helps, doesn't it, to keep your frequency up as well. Uh,
yes, yeah. Jean Slater, who wrote the book Hiring from the Heavens,
right.
I got an email the other day and it really resonated. She said, someone asked her what to do, and she said that she'd lost interest in life. So she said to the
Right.
angels, "Can you actually help me find the fun in life again?"
Yeah.
Well, I just roared laughing. I thought that was so innocent and so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And then for the next few days, I had all these things, because I did it, of course, straight away,
Yeah.
and all these synchronicities popping in. And I thought, well, that's more fun and that's hilarious. And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting how asking a question
yes,
allows the universe to respond, doesn't it?
yeah. And
And
it's
then,
interesting you should say that because I've been watching Mind Valley, Vishen Lakiani.
right,
And as a result, I mean, I'm not on it all the time, but
yeah,
he said something about asking lofty questions. And I thought, I really like the sound of this. And it was, stretching yourself. So turning things around and really making it, wouldn't that be fantastic if that happened? So I've turned, instead of writing down affirmations, which I struggle with for years,
right.
I'm now turning them into questions. Why is it so easy for this to happen?
Oh, I love this.
And
Yeah,
it was only that was one of the things that came after I said I'd like to have more fun. I asked the angels, and
yeah,
he popped up with this little short video about lofty questions, and I
yeah.
thought, oh yes, I like that too. So I'm always borrowing.
Yeah, no,
I do.
I mean that's the beauty of this community, isn't it? Like
Mm,
we're taking bits and pieces from so many teachers and people that we've been inspired by, and then it
yes,
culminates in our mind, and it sometimes leads us to a new direction completely. And like
yes,
you said, that's such a beautiful gem there, asking the question rather
yes.
than using an affirmation. I remember one that I read recently was "Show me how good life could get."
Oh, that's
And
great too.
yeah, yeah, and I really like that. And I mentioned it to a client, and she's almost become obsessed with it because it works so well,
Yeah,
show me
yeah,
how good life can get.
that's
Um,
wonderful.
yeah, but I love that as well, show me how easy life can be. Um,
Yes.
yeah,
One of the reasons he said it works is because the subconscious mind has got a new task. It's not, you're not just repeating something and hoping for the best. It's got a task. Well, why is this happening for her today?
yeah, yeah,
And I thought that was amazing. I mean, he does heaps of them, but I'm happy with 2 or 3 a day at the moment. These
yeah,
loft questions,
yeah.
yeah.
And would you recommend picking up your pendulum while you're
I
asking that?
often,
Yeah, you
do
know,
this for
of
almost
course, of
everything,
course.
as you know, Kelly. Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Well, why
exactly.
don't we do a little one now saying
So,
using a question with the pendulum. So we're swinging it in. You'll
yeah,
guess.
yes, for that,
Yeah.
yeah. So why is it so easy for Kelly and I to have fun on this webinar, and for everyone else watching to get the sense of humour, the Australian accent as well as the English accent,
Yeah.
and take something away to try for the first time? A lofty question. Why is it so easy for it to work more easily
Oh,
than affirmations ever have for us?
yeah. I love that. And what about if we said, why is it so easy for us to have a beautiful day ahead after
Yeah,
watching this, which is another sign from the universe, really, isn't it?
yes, it is. Yeah, why is it so easy
Yeah.
day to continue and to be beautiful and for us to all be blessed?
My mind is now going into hundreds of little why is it so easy?
You know, we've all tried the
Yeah.
different affirmations, and we can,
Yeah.
forever in a day. Um, and I thought that there's magic in that. And I always like to give credit to whoever I get the idea from.
Yeah.
Sometimes you
Yeah.
don't remember, but because it's only this week, I know it's Vishen Lakiani. So
Say his name again.
Vishen,
Oh,
Vishe.
yeah. And
Yeah,
that's on Mind Valley, is it?
yes, that's
Yeah.
right.
I'm going to just write it down.
One of the reasons I got even more excited about it was when he said, we've all heard that very old saying, every day and every way I'm getting better and
Yeah.
better. Well, he turned it around to, oh, why is it every day? Everything is getting better and better
Yeah.
in every way. And I thought,
Oh,
exactly, maybe this is what the universe has been waiting for,
yeah.
questions instead of blank
Yeah.
statements.
I mean, it makes sense now that you've said it, it makes perfect sense because I know some of my biggest shifts have come when I've asked spirit why or how, like in particular with writing the books, that sort of started with me asking a question to, well, at the time I didn't realize it was Metatron. I thought it was one of my other guys. Turned out Metatron was the one that answered it. And yeah, there is this thing, isn't there, that when you ask,
Yeah,
you are opening up a channel to receive an
yes,
answer. And
exactly.
yeah, now my brain's trying to catch up with what's going on. Going, oh yeah, for goodness sake.
Yeah, I mean,
You
it's
know,
just
yeah,
exciting to think that in our own subconscious mind or whatever is going to pitch in and help us find the answer, even when we don't know it, and even helping the universe to find it for us.
yeah,
So I do get a bit carried
absolutely.
away, but I find these things fascinating.
Yeah, that might be another book, Heather. Just loads of questions, but
Yeah.
like sometimes people need that bit of help, don't they, to
Yes,
think, hang on, what
yes,
questions do I need to ask, or what should I ask,
yeah,
and yeah, there's definitely a book in there somewhere, I think, tied in with the pendulum. And
yeah.
even in your first book, I noticed, like, and we did the same, funnily enough, in our first book, we put in about tapping. And I
Mm,
love that there's this correlation between the work we've both done. Um,
yes,
but how,
opposite sides of the world. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, it just is sort of mad in a way, isn't it? But obviously, we both linked into the idea that that was actually another easy technique that's very effective, easy to learn, um, and it can really help you
yeah,
I mean, sort of same results as tapping in many ways, but sometimes if you want to do something on the physical body, for instance, or I feel like sometimes I spend a bit more time tapping, like because
mm,
it takes a tiny bit longer than pendulum work, but in that my mind is very aligned when I'm doing it. So
yeah.
I'm manifesting outwards to whatever I'm tapping in.
And you're
Um,
calming the organs in the body, so everything's in alignment. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think that's really important as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Do you do anything pendulum wise internally with the organs and the muscles and nerves of
Well, I pretty much, if anything's out of shape, which it has been with
mm,
this ridiculous cold that I've had.
yeah,
So again, I start with Ina's book, and I wrote
yeah,
down all the things she said about colds and flu. Basically, it was the same thing, needing time out.
yeah,
Um, and I've had a propensity for that all my adult life. Not often, but just the fact that when I'm not listening to the fact that I need more time and
yeah,
stop just doing,
yeah.
then so I wrote it all out, and I doused on it and took it out. And then I doused in the yes direction to transform the energy for good
Nice.
health, clear voice, which is improving as we go, thankfully,
Yeah,
and all the rest of it. Yeah.
yeah,
So forever working on myself, or
yeah,
anyone who
yeah.
crosses my path, really. Yeah.
It's important, isn't it? Especially when we're helping other people to do as much on ourselves as we do on our clients or patients, and I think I always also appreciate that sometimes clients come in with stuff and an honesty about their situation and a vulnerability that makes something go in your own mind as that, oh, like I've never done any work on that. Oh, that's interesting, like because it sort of teaches you at the same time, doesn't it?
Yes. And listening is so
Yeah,
important. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I think it's amazing. But I do know people who are practitioners and they don't work on themselves at all. I find that astounding. I'm forever, I've got a
Yeah,
pendulum out or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm if up at night and we're upstairs, and my husband will say, "What have I done now?" Because I'm dowsing and I haven't said what I'm doing. It's okay. Not everything's about you.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, I joke with Spirit sometimes that if I have any more things to do for myself on a day-to-day basis, I won't actually have time to work on anyone else.
Yeah,
I've got a
that's,
routine going, which
yeah.
does take up a good few hours of the morning. But I actually really enjoy working on myself. I don't know about you, but like I find
Hmm.
a great satisfaction, and I think it also builds your self-worth as you do it.
Yeah, I think you
Um,
have to walk your talk, definitely.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Is there a when if we're thinking about our lovely viewers, and I'm sure a lot of you do work on yourself, but do you find you've got a better time of day, or what is there anything that in particular you would give as advice to getting into a routine, to doing a little bit of work on yourself? Um,
There is actually, and I listed in the new book, the second
Yeah,
book.
good.
Um,
Buy
um,
Heather's books.
um, I'll just find the page. Just to really check whether your shoulders are up around your shoulders, up
Mm,
your ears, calm down.
mm,
And that's not exactly what I'm looking for. Just let me find it, okay? Um,
sure.
Polarity and energy. So
Yeah.
for myself, I always ask, I douse in the day, in the yesterday, bringing my polarity and body magnetism into 100% balance with the earth, local positive energy, creative forces, the elements, and the universe.
Oh, nice.
And you do that for yourself and another, or whatever.
Yeah.
It really it makes me feel like that's the first thing I do.
Yeah.
And I go on to do some stuff with thinking with water and all that sort
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah. Do you think
And
do you do it in the morning? So is that when you're first getting up?
first thing in the morning, yes.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the morning work.
Oh, so am I, because
Yeah.
you've got to set your day up. And if you are a little bit out of kilter, that
Yeah.
brings you back,
Yeah.
so easy. And then I start looking at something online and I get triggered or whatever, and I dowsing again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it's if you can, even if it means, if you're going out to work or something like that, you've got to get up 20 minutes earlier or something to
mm,
have that little morning routine.
yeah, it's
And
very important, I think.
Yeah, your day is going to go so much better if you've just spent that little bit of time working on yourself and having some self-awareness of what's going on for you. And like Heather's just said, I mean, I'm still reeling from the beauty of this, asking questions, putting it out as a question. Why is it so easy for me to have a beautiful day now with everything flowing?
Yeah.
And you could take that into any area, couldn't you? If you're feeling a bit like, or you're struggling financially or something, why is it so easy for money to come to me?
Yes.
You
With
know,
need and flow and all the rest of it. It's really, I think what I'm going to be doing is taking regular affirmations and turning them around into
yeah,
questions, because
yeah,
we're all familiar with affirmations, but
mm,
after a while you think, well, I don't know whether it's working, but turning it into a question, it's not, it's a different shift, I think.
yeah, it really is because I think that's opening that channel to, like, instead of stating it, which is good in
Mm,
itself,
mm.
you're
But this is
opening.
making it happen. This is energizing it,
Yeah,
really.
like I feel like you're opening a door to
Yeah,
almost say, allow this energy. Allow this energy in now. I sort of wish I'd known this. But a few weeks ago, I was deliberating about signing up for a course, which is quite expensive course, and I have done it, but it took me through some troughs and sways almost in terms of whether I could genuinely afford it. And one of the reasons was I know in the past sometimes I fly myself into things and then it's a struggle. So I was
yeah,
aware that that was in my background.
yes,
But I almost was feeling obsessed with get doing it and signing up for it. And now I have. It's weird how the money is starting to find its way to me to pay for it. But
yeah,
I really had to sort of question myself about, yeah, am I just throwing myself down a pit here where I'm for a year going to be paying off a course?
yeah,
And now I'm going to ask the question, how is it that the money is coming to me so I can actually pay it off in 3 months?
exactly. Yeah, good idea. Yeah.
Because I don't like having things hovering over my head financially. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, yes. But I think I think it just opened up a whole lot of amazing things for us all to
Yeah,
realize.
yeah.
And
Thank
feel
you.
like it's not that black and white. It's like it's got scope, it's got hope, it's got everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
No,
lofty questions.
yeah. Agree. I'm going to write that actually down as a just as a. I mean, I'm not going to forget it anyway. But I love that term as well.
Mm.
Lofty questions. Um, I just yeah. I feel like it's done something, and I hope it does something for everyone watching
Yes,
as well.
exactly. Yes.
It's created like a shift in consciousness, hasn't it?
Mm.
So that's
Emotional.
yeah, amazing. Is there anything else that you love using your pendulum for? I know we did touch on this last time. Heather checks whether the weather's going to be good when she's going out and you need an umbrella or not, don't you? And things like
I do.
that.
Yeah, because I travel a lot on public transport and it's just
Yeah,
one extra thing to carry. But
yeah,
I always follow it because it just works
yeah,
perfectly. And
yeah,
that's my faith in dowsing.
yeah, yeah,
But I also, when there are severe cyclones here or hurricanes in America, and I'm
mm,
involved with the Tucson Dowsers for weather each week. Um, and one of the people was saying, well, Raymond Grace uses a double-sided axe. Well, I don't actually have one living in the city, any
mm.
axe. And then fortunately on his Facebook page, which he doesn't go to, but all his
Right,
wife does,
yeah,
Nancy, and someone posted that they used a knife.
right,
And I thought, that's amazing. So
yeah,
I'm a hopeless gardener, as I've mentioned to you before, privately. But I had a couple of empty pots, which
yeah.
I'd killed off some herbs. So I put a knife in and had it facing upwards to split the clouds.
Wow.
And I don't do it in any, and he says you've got to face it this way or face it. I'm literally just saying to the nature spirits, can you help me here? We want to split the clouds where it's, there's terrible cyclones coming in Queensland or wherever.
Right.
And then for the opposite, if we want to break the drought, we put the knife down.
Okay.
So I've often got
Right.
a pot with a knife up
Yeah.
and a pot with the knife down. Well, the hilarious thing was my husband was out cleaning up the paths and he came in holding a pot with a knife in it. He said, how did these get here? And I said, oh, you've only found one. I said, they've been there for 18 months. I mean, I've taken them out and changed them. And
Yeah.
they're normal kitchen knives. I don't worry
No.
about the size of them.
Of course.
And so I've got one of each going generally, yeah. But
I'm
he
trying
said,
to.
oh, that's not going to work. And I said, would you like to know how many times it has worked?
Yeah.
And he doesn't douse, but he
No.
knows it. But I think he thought that was a real stretch, putting a knife in a pot.
I'm just imagining if you'd used great big daggers or something.
Fortunately, I didn't have any of those, and I didn't even use a bread knife.
You'd have
Because
been
I
thinking,
just put
she's
a normal.
plotting my downfall.
He did say to me, I wonder how many insects or animals you kill with that knife sitting up. And I said, I'm not buying into that one. That's
No,
ridiculous.
no, that's not in our reality. That's not happening. Um,
No.
wow, that's amazing. And I mean, here in the UK, we don't have too dramatic weather, as I touched some wood just to keep that going. But I mean, what a wonderful just
Mm,
idea. And I truly believe in, our consciousness and little ritualistic actions having even
mm.
our consciousness alone has got great power, but our consciousness added in with, picking up a pendulum or doing something like that adds in
Mm.
like a ritualistic element, I suppose, because we're putting more intention in as we're doing these things, aren't we?
That's the key, I think, Kelly. It's
Yeah.
the intention. It's really doing something physical, like dowsing is doing something
Yeah.
physical. We've got that real intention. And we had this just not long ago, a really bad experience across the whole top end of Australia.
Right.
And the cyclone went across from Queensland, Northern Territory to the top of Western Australia and then down the side.
Right.
It's huge. And I had other people doing this. I had a dowsing protocol I developed for it.
Yeah.
It was amazing how the actual cyclone categories went up and down in the time. So it
Wow.
wasn't right across. And
Yeah.
the dreadful thing is that the cyclone starting in Queensland as it did, they hadn't cleaned up after the previous cyclone.
Oh,
So the flooding
right.
was so. But you just think, well, I'll do something. If you do nothing, nothing's going to happen. And it did help
Absolutely.
enormously, which was
Yeah.
great. Didn't stop
Yeah.
it all, but they did say that at one stage that said Queensland dodged a bullet. And I thought, well, that's
Wow.
great. Mm,
Wow. I mean, that's amazing, isn't it? And it's
yeah.
it's a bit like the research on when large groups of people meditate together. We were touching on Pam Gregory earlier, and she has a little meditation thing that you can link into for free, 7 o'clock every night. But in one of the early research papers was that a group of people, I think I'm trying to remember now, but there was at least I don't know, 30 to 50 people meditating all the time within this particular area, and the crime rate dropped, and
Yes.
all
Yeah.
sorts of things happened, didn't it? Because there was people holding the energy of peace through that meditation.
It was
Um,
wonderful. I was in Washington, I think. It was
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
I knew it was somewhere in America, but I couldn't remember where. I was like, well,
Yeah. No, it was. I
yeah.
thought I might mention the Australian Dowsing Call.
Oh, yes,
It's on Fridays in Australia.
yes, do.
It's 12 noon Melbourne time, AEST or AEDT, depending whether we have daylight saving.
Okay,
A colleague of mine, Francis Peterson, and I douse together with people from, not many from Europe because the
yeah,
timing is not good, but people
sure.
in Europe can watch the replay. We
Yeah,
have a lot from America and Canada and now New Zealand.
wow.
And it was not my idea, it was Frances who had the idea.
Hmm.
Before COVID even hit, she just decided in 2020, I nearly said 1920, 2020,
That was a past life.
wonderful one, a dowsing group. So she invited me to come with her on it.
Wow.
And initially it was just the two of us on a Friday.
Yeah.
We've now been going since, and the following week COVID hit.
Wow.
So we went right through that and we've continued. So 2020 now to 2026, we're still working together every Friday, except Good Friday or Christmas Day. Or
yeah, the odd one.
you know, it's wonderful. So if anyone would like to join us, we would love to have you. And I know you have people from other countries right beyond Europe, don't you? Because it really won't suit Europeans.
Yeah.
But if you'd like to have a look on Facebook, my page is just simply Heather Wilks. There's not a, there is a group, but it's easier for me to just tell you here.
Yeah.
It's Heather Wilks, and Francis and I post every Thursday night our time,
right,
for on the Friday, and we pick a topic each week. And it's amazing how many people come on the call, and that topic that she and I might wrestle with on the Thursday night turns out to be the perfect one for the majority of people.
Wow.
It's quite magical. Last week we had, what do we work on? Flexibility.
Yeah.
Different people came in with different ideas about flexibility.
Yeah.
The time they thought about it and while we took them through the process, it's not very long. It's only about half an hour.
Yeah.
And Francis starts it and introduces me, and then I take people through a court of atonement.
Right.
And it's all designed for a new golden era. And then I do the dowsing component based on the topic we've chosen, taking out what we don't want in the no direction, bringing in what we do want in the yes direction. And then I have a guided visualization.
Oh, lovely.
It's fun. And then at the end of that, Francis stops the recording, which goes on Facebook. And then people can stay on and the conversations. Last week we heard someone had this going on, and how's that going with your hair or whatever. You know, and it's quite funny that some of the things come up, and there's a continuity by some. Some people come in and out week in and week out. Others come when they can afford the time. It's a bit of fun, and you come back and everyone's very welcoming. It's quite lovely.
That's amazing. And just think of all the energy that's being created around that as well. And if you're in Europe or the UK, Heather always posts it in our group on Pendulum. What's going on Facebook, and on her own page. So and Rodney's big Pendulum group, which a lot of our watchers are on Rodney's group as well. So it's always up, isn't it, and available for people wherever you are in the world.
Yes, I post to about 14 dowsing groups now.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Quite involved. But it's worth it because the topics are always interesting. The people are lovely. We've formed some really good friendships over time. We're going back 6 years.
That's so lovely, isn't it? And that comes back to that whole community thing. Heather and I were talking earlier about Pam Gregory, talking about community and building little communities, helping. And there's room for that online and within our sort of dowsing and pendulum work, and you're already doing this, and it's I think it's easy to underestimate the energy of support that is created within a group like that, and the regularity of it, and people, whatever they're going through, maybe they're having a really bad week for some reason or other, knowing that there's a group of people that they've already made connections with, who might have known them for a few weeks or a few years, it doesn't really matter, but they're there holding the energy and the space for you to come and talk about your stuff and do some work.
And we've got people on Thursday nights for America and Canada because it's different. And Friday here in Australia and New Zealand. But it's wonderful, and sometimes something will come up and people, not on the Facebook component, but people will talk about something they're doing, and various people chip in with an idea to help them, and there's some terrific ideas shared just willingly that we all pick up on, and then the following week, if the person's back on, you say, how did you go with that?
That's so nice, isn't it? That is lovely. And there's a natural opening of the heart connection in that, isn't there?
There is,
yeah, people just want to help each other and support each other. So
And there's so much wisdom in the group with the different people, doing different aspects of healing and different aspects of dowsing. It's extraordinary, and they've got some great ideas, so it's wonderful.
I love it. Absolutely love it. That's such a, it's a gift, isn't it?
Mm,
Because as we know, life is full of ups and downs.
mm.
And I do think, I don't know who it was who said no man is an island.
Yes.
For a long time, I used to resent that statement a little bit because I'm a bit of a hermit, and I thought, no, I am an island, thank you very much. I don't need anybody. But as I've got older and wiser, I've realised that, of course, yes, you can exist entirely on your own, but actually you can't, because there's people growing the food, there's people working in the shops, there's people like, you can't be an island.
No, and we
Um,
are all connected, even though we can't see it.
we
We
are,
really, yeah, we
yeah,
really are.
yeah,
Yes, well, this came about because Frances had the brilliant idea to do something, and then COVID hit. She'd started it because of the weather, because we were
right,
having terrible weather, bushfires, and
yeah,
terrible heat in Australia. And so that's how it started. And then COVID, so we had more reasons to
of
meet, and we
course,
just kept going.
yeah, yeah.
Mm,
And we were saying earlier, COVID, for all its ups and downs and everything that went on and some of the ridiculousness that even went on, it did. Now we can look back and really recognize that there was a lot of good change that came about from it,
mm,
including things like that. We were forced to sort of go online more to do our work.
mm,
More little communities sprung up, and I feel like that to me always says, oh, there's the magic of the universe in play,
yes.
because you can't make this stuff up, can you?
No, you
Really,
cannot.
like, there must be a higher force out there,
There
or
certainly
however
is.
you want to see it. There is
Mm,
magic in everything that happens, and in the end, I like to believe everything will always work out for
mm.
our highest will and good.
I
Um,
still believe that in spite of all that's going on. I
yeah,
really believe in this new golden era, and much along the lines of Pam Gregory.
yeah,
I quite see it the way she sees it, because I said to you before, if I'm supposed to grow my own food, I'll starve. So because I'm no gardener. But the point is, something else will come about. There'll be bartering, there'll be all sorts of things.
yeah.
Just the idea
Absolutely.
that things seem really grim. I love the fact that this astrology is so unusual.
Oh,
Some of it going back
yeah,
hundreds of years since it happened before. And now we're here, so we really must have chosen to be here. I
yeah,
absolutely believe that. And I have to
yeah,
remind myself when things seem a bit grim politically. But I think, no, we've chosen to be here, and I want to see the change. I want to see the real
yeah.
change.
And
Mm,
my guide said to me recently about, like, all the different characters in politics are all playing that role, and sometimes they're playing the role of a baddie, and sometimes for some people, they're the goodie.
mm,
But actually, what they're really doing is creating change, and they're very brave souls,
mm,
despite how we feel about their personalities and what we're seeing. They're very
mm,
brave souls because they put themselves in a spotlight, and it's not an easy job.
mm,
It's fraught with, well, one, the power and corruption side, but also the red tape. And even if they do want to do something, it's often very difficult to get that shift for whatever reason until the consciousness is in the right
yeah,
place for that shift to happen. So, in
mm.
many ways, their hands are tied until we as a humanity stop going into division and start
That's one
thinking
of the
more.
reasons I'm really curious about what Pam Gregory says about some of these things, because you think, oh, that's going to be exciting in July. I wonder what's coming, because she'll give you a little hint about something.
Yeah,
And then August, and I think, oh, we're still going. Still
yeah,
hope.
absolutely. We're still here. We're living it. And as you said, we chose to come down at this time of exciting and sometimes terrifying change.
I think it must have been a really good sell job to all of us, the big promise. And I think, well,
Yeah,
it must have been good, because here I am, and here's everyone else.
yeah. I've always had a bit of a joke with my guides that one, like when you're up there, you're just in the love energy. So you're in this different frequency, and they're like, now, would you like to go down to earth again? And you're like, yeah, cool. And what about if you have a dysfunctional body? Do you want that? Yeah, go on. All right, I'll do that.
Why
And
would you
I'm
not?
like, yeah, like I always joke that where when patience was handed out, I must have missed that bit somewhere along the lines, and I said, it's like, but yeah, you're just in this joyous frequency, so you don't really care about what you're taking on as you come
Yeah.
back down here. And then when
Mm.
you come here, you're like, oh, why didn't I pay attention?
Yeah, exactly. No, but I think it helps to look at it like that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And even, like, I mean, I know for myself, my health for a long time, since I was 16 to last year really has been an ongoing issue. And then one day I was in the shower and Metatron said to me, why don't you start just focusing on how well you're going to be now from now on? In your physical body, because your mental health's fine, your spiritual health's fine, your emotional health's fine, but your physical health, you still have this fear that you're going to have to go through dialysis again. You're going to have another transplant, and you're going to be a much older person at that time. And he says, it's easy, really. You sort of know this, but just focus on wellness now. And again, it was one of those things that went deep. And it suddenly, like, everything changed, and I just thought, yeah, I don't know why I've been doing that. Why was I doing that? Like, I need to be doing this,
Mm.
and moving forward and knowing that this kidney is going to be here with me and it's going to be well functioning
Yes.
for the rest of my life. And bizarrely, just as an extra sign, I went to have my regular 6 monthly blood test, and my kidney function has gone up. And it's
Oh,
gone up to higher than it's ever been since I had this transplant. And I was just like, okay, I'm doing it.
that's wonderful. Another thing I really recommend is to write down 10 things every day you're grateful for.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it's another one of those books that's on the go. But,
Yeah.
it's really interesting. I heard Bob Proctor say it years ago. Write down the 10 things that you're really grateful for. And it's easy. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but it's really easy. And then at the end, he used to say, send love to two people who are annoying you.
Yeah.
I think that is just
That's a
stunning.
life changer, isn't it? That's a
Mm.
life changer. And then, after a while, you won't have anyone annoying you.
Yes,
Uh,
exactly. Mm.
and
Not quite
that's.
there yet, Kelly.
Hmm?
I'm not there yet.
Well, it's one of those, like you hear little bits and bobs all around. Like there's that lady called Mel Robbins who wrote that book called Let Them.
Yes.
And although I have got the book, I haven't read it all because I do, for some reason, her energy, like I can see what she's saying is powerful and brilliant, but it also doesn't quite resonate with me in some ways. But I took the little bits.
Yes. Yeah.
And I've found that is very much a powerful statement to say, if you are finding yourself getting hooked into something like, I mean, we've just had an election here, and it's been every day for the last 3 weeks, there's been political canvassers coming round. And, my days are very sort of structured in a way. Like I'm working, or sometimes I need to have a rest, or I'm doing exercise, or I'm never just sitting around having an
Mm.
ability to spend ages chatting to people.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
part of me was annoyed that people kept coming and bothering. Well, they weren't bothering because they don't get in because I've got a German Shepherd, so he's like outside doing his job as a protector, and I'm just like, let the dog deal with this. But I could feel myself being
Mm.
slightly rattled by how dare they keep coming and bothering me? Do they really think that them coming and bothering me is going to make me change my mind?
Yes. Yes.
And that's when
Exactly.
Spirit came in and said, just know that they're all passionate about whatever they're passionate about, and just as you're passionate about spirit, and you've got things that probably other people look at and go, what on earth is she going on about, you know? And that again, it helped me come back into a bit of a state of balance with it. But I know what you mean. Just write down all political people are irritating me. I'm sending them all. Mainly because they're interrupting my nap times, you know.
Yes, yes.
Oh dear. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us before we wrap up? I'm looking at the time and I'm always trying to keep these interviews to around an hour, you know, because I know that's what people find a good time to watch.
Yeah. No, I think we've done pretty well. We've
Yeah,
covered new
it's
ground together, which is good.
yeah, it's
And yeah,
been absolutely lovely chatting to you again, Heather. Even though I had to get up at 4:30 to do. Well,
yeah,
you know, do you know what? I wouldn't have had, but I've got this bit in me that I have to do certain things before I'm ready to do anything, and a lot of that is the spiritual side of things.
yes.
So if I could have been more flexible, I will go and watch that video on flexibility. I probably could have got up a bit later, but I wanted to do all my particular protocols and my stress reset and everything else before starting the day. So thank you so much. And we're going to say it again. Do go and get Heather's books. They are perfect books. You know, sometimes they'll inspire you. Sometimes you'll be looking for something in particular, and there it will be within Heather's book. One is, as we said, a manual, isn't it? To tell you right from scratch. If you've just come across this video and you've never even picked up a pendulum before, then go and get Heather's book, Dowsing Heals 1. I mean, I would say personally, just buy both of them. They're not super expensive books, are they? And they're an investment. So, but if you already know, well, I mean, I still, you know, I look at Dowsing 1 quite a lot and I know what I'm doing, but there's stuff in there that I'm like, oh, this is so good, you know. So
Well,
have a look.
there's also the dowsing for changing energy in situations in the first book. It's
Yeah.
just the second book doesn't have how to douse, but the two
Yes.
of them marry together very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. They walk hand in hand together, don't they? So, and that's on your website. Tell us what your website is once more. Just
Is dowsingheals.com.
yeah.
And it's an instant download. With PayPal, you don't need a PayPal account. You can choose one book or two books or both books. And in Australia, they're available also as a printed book. I don't post overseas because it's just
Oh, the
word of
postage
mouth,
is
and the time it takes is
yeah.
just doesn't work. And people, I give full details about how to print it if you'd like to put
Yeah.
it on a thumb drive.
Yeah, that's what I did. Mine's printed here and then it's in a little folder.
Right. Yeah. So just, you know, all the details are there
Yeah.
to know how to print, and it's a lot cheaper for you too.
Yeah. And also, if like I haven't done this yet, but I am going to. Like I've got this like this at the moment, but the company we use for our books do spiral binding,
Yeah,
so I'm probably gonna send this off
yeah.
to
It's
be
a much better
printed.
way, so it's flat, yeah.
Yeah,
Where,
with the spiral bind because I wanted to make sure I was going to use it enough, and I do use it enough to justify that. So, so brilliant. And then on Facebook, if you just look for Heather under Heather Wilks, and join as a friend, I guess, isn't it? On Facebook, it's not a page, is it?
it's a
Yeah.
page, but you don't have to even be a friend. You can just
Oh,
read it and
oh,
see
cool.
the details for the Friday call or Thursday nights in America and Canada. Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Heather.
Thank
Absolutely
you.
always love talking to you. And what a huge amount of wisdom you've just dropped in this hour interview for us to go away and think about how we're going to integrate into our lives. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, you know, for that. Really.
I'm delighted that you invited me. Thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I hope we can have you back again. And I know, like, I feel a third book is probably coming, is it?
I'll have to think about that.
Yeah, I know it's a lot of work, isn't it?
It is,
Writing a
yeah.
book. It's all very well us people reading them and but actually writing them is a whole different ball game. But I really hope, you'll be able to share even more wisdom with us as time goes on, but with no pressure, obviously, as well.
All right, Kelly, thank you so much.
Take care, lots of love. And
Bye-bye.
thank you for watching the video, everybody. If you will give us a like, do drop a comment for Heather or myself in the comments underneath. That always helps. And share the video to anyone else who you think this would benefit for. But for now, wishing you a wonderful day ahead and lots of love to you all. Take care. Bye-bye.
Storm to stillness, moon to peace. Ancient codes through charts unsealed. What's named in truth begins to heal. Spirit speaks, the field is kneeling, touched by divine alchemy healing. I ask, I receive, I release, I believe. 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 It is done, it is done, it is done. The waters hush, the sky is still. It is done, it is done, it is done. By soul's intent,